Hi-ho, folks, and welcome back to the adventures of Turwinkle, the Gnome Mage. Well, hi, Turwinkle.
Salutation.
Are you all set for tonight?
Indubitably.
Well, great, because tonight we have a very special episode. Tonight we are going to Moonguard, and tonight we are going to be doing an interview on the Horde side. So that should be a lot of fun. And what, Turwinkle, nothing to be afraid of. We've got a special spell planned for you where we're going to turn you into an undead mage. And so that will be a
I
lot.
don't think so.
Turwinkle. It's just a disguise to help you interview the Horde folks.
No way.
Turwinkle, we're going to do it whether you want to or not. So let's get the spell ready to go.
No.
And Turwinkle. Well, folks, we won't continue the argument here, but we will see Turwinkle and I on Moonguard on the Horde side in just a moment to talk to these fun folks, the Undercity Nexus group. And so, without further ado, let us head on out. And here we are, folks. We've made it to the... Oh, Turwinkle, what do we got here? Oh my god, Turwinkle. Okay, don't be afraid, Turwinkle. I don't think they're... Okay, all right, well, let's just keep calm, Turwinkle. So okay, this is where... This is it, folks. We have found, or actually they have found us, the Undercity Nexus. So folks, when we come back, hopefully they won't see through Turwinkle's disguise, and we'll be able to interview these fine folks of the Undercity Nexus. Wonderful. All right, folks, so I'm letting you take a look at Turwinkle's awesome disguise that he has on here. He's disguised as a leper gnome, and I think he's done an excellent job. He looks really hideous without his beard or hair. But as was mentioned to him earlier, he does have at least the boils, and of course any leper gnome is proud to have boils. So, without further ado, as we turn around here, here they all are in their magnificent glory, the Undercity Nexus. And right up front here, we have the leader of the Undercity Nexus, and that is Banshee, nickname Boss, Umbra, Ban, and more. She keeps moving around there a little bit. The spy mistress of the Undercity Nexus, level 90 undead rogue, currently has ash on her face. And why is that, ma'am?
The ash is on the face because Halloween, also known as Hallows End in the game, is actually a near holy holiday for the Forsaken. The ash is used in their ceremonies in the established lore to celebrate the Forsaken liberation from the Scourge.
Oh, okay, so wonderful. And you brought two officers with you today. Selene, a shadow priest, the Undying, nicknamed Syl. She's a clerk of the Undercity Nexus, a level 90 Forsaken priest, and James Dartfall, acolyte of the cult of the Forgotten Shadow, harbinger of the Undercity Nexus, level 90 Forsaken priest. So wonderful. It is great to meet you. And folks, when we come back, we're going to meet the fine folks they've brought with them today. So we'll be right back with that. And we are back. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to meet the rest of the fine group that Banshee has brought with her. So here we go. Wonderful. And so let's just walk over here and walk. Turwinkle, not run. He's excited. Okay, so first up on the very left here.
That would be Rashnok. He is one of our freelance apothecarians and flesh crafters. He's dabbled into a variety of more darker arts and has been a variety of he's been pretty helpful in the short term. Behind him would be Anzadril. He's a dread mage. Before Anzadril is Rat. He's a Deathstalker in training, I do believe. Behind Rat is Civ. Civ is a new initiate to the guild and is kind of finding his way. He's been involved in the Cult of Forgotten Shadows, kind of making his way through the unlife. Before that, we have Archbishop Pelios Silvertongue, who is involved in the light. He's a bit of a different Forsaken in the sense that he's going out to do his part to restore his faith in humanity and try and bring many of the Forsaken back from the verge of damnation that they court. Behind Pelios is Lydia Brightman. She's a scholar and tailor. She's a Forsaken civilian. Next to me and to my immediate right is Selene. She's our Shadow Priestess, and she leads a lot of the Cult of Forgotten Shadow activity on the server, and she's been a great individual to be involved with on the guild. She's been very helpful. She's been pretty much intrinsic to a lot of this guild's success. Behind her would be Gurinder. She's a medic and a healer. She's been on a lot of different battlefields, and she's done her part to really help out with a lot of different people. She's been there for a lot of our RP PvP campaigns and a lot of our different RP events. To my left is James Dortfall. He's an acolyte of the Cult of Forgotten Shadow and my Harbinger. He's been pretty much my go-to man for quite some time, and he's very active. He's a very open door approach. Anybody can come to him and find roleplay at pretty much any time. Behind Dartfall is Lydia. Lydia is one of our newer members. She is a Death Knight and has been on some of the battlefields. She's done a lot of RPGM events and joined us, I believe, as a result of the recent RP campaign that we did for Halloween. Before that character is Humphrey. Humphrey is a pretty awesome character. He's been with us long term, and he's been pretty much an old battle veteran. That's been his part. He's marked the long roads. He's done pretty much everything with the guild. He's been here long term, pretty much from the start. Behind Humphrey is Agrippa. Agrippa is an old veteran of many different wars, citizen of Lordaeron, and is still here and doing her part in the guild. And then we have Darkhand. He's a battle mage and guardian of the Undercity. He's been with us for a little while and has always been a very pleasant and quiet background presence, a very easygoing role player, and just generally fun guy. And then we have Gurval in the background, another recruit. Pretty simple character. No great highs, no great lows, and that's honestly one of the better things that you can expect out of this individual. You don't get too much crazy, and you don't get too much tame.
Well, wonderful, awesome. We enjoy and we want to thank everybody for coming tonight. This is a wonderful group you've brought here tonight, and it's good to see everybody supporting the guild activities. So wonderful. So folks, when we come back, we're going to go ahead and start asking some questions about this excellent Forsaken guild. And we're back. So Banshee, the Undercity Nexus, how did you come up with that name?
I wanted a guild name that represented the fact that we were a Forsaken / Undead RP guild, and represented the fact that we were also a bit of a fraternal order / group of some sort. So we're the Undercity Nexus, the Undercity clearly representing what faction and group of individuals we are, and Nexus being a network.
Okay, wonderful. And so how old is the guild?
The guild is roughly 5 months old at this point.
Oh, wonderful. And so did you start it here on Moonguard?
We did start on Moonguard, yeah.
Wonderful. And how did you form the guild? Did you have a group of people that you worked with at forming the guild, or was it something that you just started on your own?
The guild came together after another guild had closed, and a lot of people had decided that they wanted to follow me over to the new guild, and they had known me from being a co-GM there, and I started with a rather large player pool from when the old guild closed. We had 30 plus accounts that followed me to form this guild. And it's really grown from there. A lot of word of mouth, a very large pool of very satisfied players. It's been a lot of networking and overall recruitment through actual activity and actual roleplay.
Oh, well, wonderful. And so you took something that had kind of fallen apart and have formed a stronger guild through that. Is that correct then?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I mean, the old guilds come and go, and that guild had gone, and people still wanted something more, and people definitely have an interest in the Forsaken, and they really wanted a guild that represented some of the older story and lore involving the Forsaken. So a lot of people have been grateful that it's been formed, and a lot of people jumped in and were eager to see it.
Well, wonderful. So folks, what we're going to ask when we come back is we'll talk a little bit about what they are about, what their storyline is. So we will come back with those questions. All right, and we are back. So, Banshee, what type of guild is the Undercity Nexus?
We are a Forsaken and Undead RP guild. The core of our membership are Forsaken, and we do allow some Death Knights into the guild as long as their storyline and concept works well with us. We focus heavily on roleplay, and we really embrace the Forsaken storyline in the sense that we embrace the struggle between redemption and damnation. We're a lot more than just throwing plague and cannibalizing. We have a lot of layers of complexity to us. We do some PvP and we do some PvE. For example, we engage on a flex raid between another roleplay guild. That's a joint effort. And we do a couple sessions with RP PvP. We do it very lightly, though. We ourselves do not consider ourselves hardcore PvPers. We really just do it for the storyline. And the most recent campaign reflects that, where we hosted an event called Dance of the Dead. And it was a large Halloween campaign that involved our server and was quite popular. We've done a lot of events, and we have a very community-based approach with a lot of our RP. We do welcome other people to join us as long as they're polite and civil. One of the things that we've really tried to do to try and raise awareness of the Forsaken storyline is more than just plague-throwing monsters, is we do try to focus on the storyline of the redemption and damnation. A lot of that is reflected, in fact, in the religion of the Forsaken. With the Forsaken, you see a tie or a struggle between two particular religions. You see the light, which is brought over for when the Forsaken are typically alive and they still observe the light, and some have shifted over to the shadow. And the shadow in particular, as a religion for the Forsaken, is known as the Cult of Forgotten Shadow. The Cult of Forgotten Shadow is the aspect of the Forsaken where many Forsaken feel betrayed by the light, that the citizens of Lordaeron and other people who have suffered so greatly and ended up as a Forsaken feel that the light failed them, or their families, or something happened that has embittered them towards the light. And we do host an open weekly sermon for the light, and also an open weekly sermon for the Cult of Forgotten Shadow. The Cult of Forgotten Shadow is actually a lesser known element for roleplay that not a lot of people know about, and one of the people that's been very intrinsic and helpful for bringing this together is my officer Selene. She hosts a weekly Cult of Forgotten Shadow sermon and is a priestess in her roleplay of the Cult of Forgotten Shadow, and inducts people, performs rituals, performs open sermons, discussions, and debates about that. And to speak more about that, I'd like to introduce you to Selene and let her speak for herself.
Oh, wonderful. Hello, Selene.
Hi.
So this is very interesting. You know, for someone that's played on the Alliance side, you don't hear much, especially in regards to the Horde side, and even further in regards to the Horde side religion. And so I'm really curious as far as this, the Cult of the Forgotten Shadow. So if you can explain that a little bit for us.
Sure. So, my version of the Cult of Forgotten Shadow, and it's important to mention that the Shadow itself as a religion is really spread out. Like, there's a bunch of different sections, so what I like to focus on in my roleplay within the cult is I bring existentialism and a lot of politics in. So I try to go a little bit deeper than just what the lore has supplied, and I try to give it a more rich backstory for the characters to get involved with. So when you come out to the sermons here, you'll notice a big emphasis on philosophy, and then we get into some free will, and I try to mimic what the Forsaken would try to believe, so I will do my own research and I'll come back and I'll put it into the game as best as I can.
Wonderful. And so there is actual lore then on this Cult of Forgotten Shadow?
Oh yeah, it's there. I mean, it's not as rich as what I would prefer, but you can definitely go to Wowpedia and spend hours and hours poring over it and really get involved in it, and I think that it's great to start there and get a really good foundation for what you want your character to be.
Well, great. And so you've taken the lore there and kind of added your own interpretation on it then as well?
Yep, like I already said, like I try to take it a level deeper, so I guess you could call it sort of a fandom or something, fan canon.
Sure. Well, that is wonderful. So, folks, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Undercity Nexus. So, we'll be back with some more questions about this wonderful guild. All right, folks, and we are back. So, Banshee, how many members do you have in the Undercity Nexus?
Last I checked, we had 112 characters and 89 accounts, and a good majority of them are active. We do have an inactive policy where we don't want to collect a bunch of characters that are inactive.
Okay, so how long can someone be inactive before you give them the old boot?
Generally, we request 1 month unless there's something that's gone on, like a medical emergency or something like military service, which deserves respect. Then, you're not going to remove somebody for doing the right thing. So, so long as we have notice, it's fine. We will hold on to counts, but generally 1 month.
Okay, and that makes sense. And obviously you allow alts. How many alts do you allow a person to have?
We're not that big of a fan of alts. Alts are a good way to really just kind of pad out the character number of a guild, but not have any quality or real sustaining presence. So we really prefer that we keep characters down to 1 or 2 alts in the guild, and that is it. And we definitely make certain that the alts make sense for the guild, that we want alts in the guild that are Forsaken and Undead.
You bet. Now, do you want a really large guild, or do you kind of keep it at or is there a certain number you're looking for?
You know, for a Forsaken RP guild, I think we're a fairly large guild. The Forsaken are not a very popular race. If you look at server demographics on a couple like mods like realmpop.com and a couple of the others, you'll look around and you'll see on RP servers the Forsaken are not very popular to play. So I'm not necessarily looking for numbers. I'm looking for the quality of the story. And the whole numbers thing isn't really a factor. It's nice to have active members, and it is important, obviously, to be involved with them. But I look at really big guilds and I just kind of scratch my head. I wonder how people are able to manage large groups. Right now, we've got a really nice population and a very good active core, and that's, having a good active core is more than I could ever want.
Well, sure. And let me ask you, why do you think the Forsaken are not played as much?
There's a lot of different opinions, and without perhaps being a little bit controversial, the story I consistently have been told by a variety of players who are interested in our guild but do not play Forsaken is quite simply that they don't like the way the Forsaken look. You know, a lot of people really respect the story, the inner struggle the characters face, the complexity of their story, and the quality of the roleplay they seem to attract. But, time and time again, when I talk to people about, they're coming to me interested in the guild, it's consistently when I'm told that they don't have a Forsaken character and I ask why, it's they don't like the way they look.
Well, in fact, isn't it true in China they changed the look of the Forsaken completely, isn't that right?
They did, due to cultural preferences in China and a couple of the other Asian countries. They had to remove the presence of all the bones on the Forsaken because it's considered culturally offensive.
Right. Well, excellent. And again, that's a really great topic for perhaps another episode that I would love to maybe talk with you about down the line. So, well, folks, when we come back, we'll talk about what it takes to get into the Undercity Nexus. So we'll be right back with that. And we're back. So Banshee, I am a new character on the Horde side here on Moonguard, and have seen this episode and want to join the Undercity Nexus. How do I do that? What is required of me?
Well, ideally you're playing a Forsaken character. We do get Blood Elves and other races that ask to join, and we do have to politely decline them. We're not looking for anything like a Dark Ranger concept in other characters unless it's on a Forsaken character. We do accept a limited number of Death Knights, however, it's on a limited basis. It's very easy to get flooded with a lot of different Death Knights from a lot of different races that may not necessarily represent the guild and its interests. With that being said, we also require that characters at least be level 25. We have had, over time, a few lessons in regards to the fact that, a lot of people make an alt and then don't play it anymore. And it tends to just kind of be a big time sink for the officers and myself to field all these lobies that are most often just not played again. From there, we have an online application process on our guild site, which is www.ucnexus.com. So ucnexus.com. We have a forums, and if you go to the forums, we have an application and recruitment process that's right there. When we look at recruits, we obviously look for the writing skill of the individual. Roleplay is a very written-based format. It's a lot of text, so the writing quality of the player in question is, of course, very important. People take their roleplay very seriously, and how you portray yourself in roleplay also comes across through the text and the quality of the writing you perform. Second to that is, of course, your lore and your understanding of what it means to be and play a Forsaken. What's going on with the Forsaken, what's with the Forsaken storyline. And if you need help with understanding the Forsaken lore, go check out the website Wowpedia. Wowpedia is a phenomenal resource that has a lot of quick and easy to access information that you can easily research and get your hands onto without any real problems. So Wowpedia will be a great place to go if you need help working out the story for Forsaken.
Wonderful. Now, is there an age limit to joining your guild?
Yes, the Forsaken storyline is an adult storyline, and that's not within like X-rated content, if you may pardon the phrase, but it is a very mature concept. A lot of the stories are very dark, and we prefer more mature and serious-oriented individuals that can appreciate the struggles that the Forsaken go through, and you're just simply not going to find that with a younger individual. We request again that the individuals be over 16.
Okay, so over 16 then. All right, well, wonderful. So now, who do I approach if I want to join? If I meet those qualifications, who do I approach?
Well, we would prefer that you fill out the website application. It's open to the public and very easy to get a hold of. If you want to contact us in-game and speak with us personally, you can contact Selene, Dartfall, or myself. Any of the Officer Corps or myself will be easy to access. You can mail us, you can whisper us, whatever is the most convenient. Feel free to contact us while you're on Moonguard, and we'll be happy to talk with you.
Okay, and so you got my application, and will you contact me then if I'm approved or not approved?
Yeah, we make it a point to try and contact individuals and talk to them. That doesn't always work out for the best. Some people are very unhappy when we politely decline their application, but we do try and at least, let them know why and if there are any improvement and changes they can make.
Sure. And so, if I am accepted, do I have to do an in-character interview, or is it all out of character?
We do the out-of-character interview and review process to kind of screen players and make certain that, we're recruiting somebody that is going to be a good fit for the guild. Obviously, people's fit in the guild is important because it plays into their satisfaction and our own satisfaction for a community. So after we do the out-of-character interview and process, we will then go in to do the in-character recruitment and interview, and that can be either real quick and short or it can be lengthy. It just depends on the individual.
Well, you bet. Well, wonderful. So, folks, when we come back, we're going to talk about what happens when you find yourself brand new in the ranks of the Undercity Forsaken, or Undercity Forsaken. Excuse me, Undercity Nexus. So we'll be right back with that. And we are back. And so we had someone join us during the break. And so, Banshee, who do we have here?
We have Henry. He's been a long-term member of ours. He's been a great member. He's always been eager to jump into the RP PvP, and he's kind of been our shield in a lot of different fights. He's always eager to jump in front of a lot of different problems when it comes to PvP and really get into the mix of it. As a result, it's kind of earned him the status of a sort of bodyguard for our officers within the guild. So he's a good guy.
Oh, wonderful. Good to meet you, sir, and welcome. And so the question now, Banshee, we come to is I've made it through the application process and I'm now a new member in the Undercity Nexus. What kind of rules do I have to follow now within your guild?
We do have a 3 strikes you're out policy in the sense that, it doesn't take a hair trigger to get kicked from the guild. You actually have to be in, and there has to be a process that goes through. That being said, if people come through and abuse that, we will simply remove them just for the sake of, preventing problems. For our rules, though, we're pretty relaxed. We have never really had much in the way of serious problems. We request just the basics. If you take things from the guild bank, you use it. If you are engaging in roleplay, it needs to be tasteful and respectful. Nothing like vulgar in an X-rated manner, and certainly never public. And that your story always conform to lore in a tasteful manner. We're here to play the story of the Forsaken, Lordaeron, Gilneas, and things like that, and people come to us for those stories. And if you don't want that story, that's fine, but that's not necessarily the guild you should be in by joining us.
Oh, sure. And so the next question goes to Mr. Dartfall. Sir, how is your guild structured? What kind of structure do you have within the Undercity Nexus?
Upon joining the guild, players are given the option to join one of 4 major sections that are the foundation of the Forsaken. The civilian section, which could range anywhere from a normal citizen to a scholar to an artisan. The apothecary quarters, which are your Forsaken scientists for the most part. The war quarter, which is the Forsaken military, and the Faithful, which ranges from the Followers of the Light or the Shadow, more specifically the Cult of the Forgotten Shadow. We also give players the opportunity to progress through these different sections. So if you were to join the cult, for instance, you would join as an acolyte or something, and begin your studies. And through role play and participation, you would then be able to grow and become something more powerful or something of rank, such as a priest, or in the military section, a sergeant, a executor, dread guard, things of that nature.
Sure. And it sounds like you folks may be doing a little restructuring in the future on that. Is that correct?
We are. We're actually working on individual storylines for players to participate in when they are ready for their characters to basically take on that next step. Um, in which case, we give the opportunity for players to take on these pilgrimages together or alone, so their character can grow in character and kind of show off around the server and within the guild like all that they've achieved.
Oh, wonderful. And so, not only using just kind of out of character points and whatnot, you've incorporated some RP into your advancement system, which is a wonderful idea. That is great. So, folks, when we come back, we're going to talk to a few of the members and find out what they enjoy about being in this wonderful guild, and then talking to their leaders as well, and finding out what they enjoy about leading the Undercity Nexus. So we will get started on that when we come back. All right, this is I think one of my favorite portions of the guild interviews is when we get the chance to talk to some of the members within the guild and find out what they enjoy about being in their guilds, because there are so many guilds out there that you could join. I know Turwinkle on a daily basis gets probably 4 to 5 guild invitations from different guilds out there. And so with all those guilds out there to choose from, Peleos Silvertongue has chosen this one to join and be a part of. And so, Peleos, what do you enjoy about being in the guild, the Undercity Nexus? What keeps you here?
Well, to be completely honest, it's the people who make this guild amazing. I can log on in the middle of the day or even at night and there'd be at least 1 or 2 people on. If it's in a day, literally 20 people on, and I can just joke around in guild chat or hit some people up for roleplay and just have a really great time while I'm exploring World of Warcraft and creating stories.
Okay, wonderful. Now, I notice it says in your MRP currently, it says you're performing charity. What charity are you performing?
My character is a devout light worshiper, so he has to perform charity. Well, doesn't have to, but it is one of the virtues under compassion. So that's a big part of his roleplay story, is him going out to help the less fortunate.
Okay, well, wonderful. Excellent answer, sir, and great. So, folks, we'll be back with the next member. All right, folks, up next is Ansadril Lem, Dread Mage, nickname Ans of Lem, a liaison of the Undercity Nexus, level 66 Undead Warlock, currently being harmless now with Ash Smears. What does being harmless mean, sir?
Well, this particular character does a lot of intelligence work, a lot of things require a great deal of subtlety and quiet observation, and the character himself has come to the conclusion that the less flashy, threatening, and apparently malevolent he is, the more he can get done.
Oh, okay.
So he tries to look harmless.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. So, sir, the question comes back to you. What do you enjoy about being in the Undercity Nexus?
Well, my roleplay main is actually Alliance. I started interacting with a number of the people that would later form this guild about 2 years ago almost now. And I've found that as Horde side guilds go, They offer, hands down, no debate, no argument, the best cross-faction roleplay I've ever seen. They do great PvP RP events, but PvP really isn't my bag. And so, with their cross-faction, we've got assassinations, blackmail, spreading of information, misinformation, uh, plots, schemes. One of my characters has already had one person stab him. So it's really fascinating, fantastic, multi-layered, entertaining, and best of all, not any kind of cliche, cartoonish supervillainy sort of dark spy games roleplay.
Oh, well, wonderful. That is a fantastic answer, sir. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Henry, agent of the Undercity Nexus, level 90 Undead Warrior. Hello, sir. And Henry, we ask Henry the same question. What do you enjoy about being in the Undercity Nexus? And Henry says, I enjoy all of the roleplay. There are many roleplay events weekly, and they vary from RP to PvP events to DM events that involve the rolling of dice to just casual roleplay. The roleplay events are made up of a great community inside the guild and the guilds associated with us. So wonderful. Wonderful, Henry. Thank you very much, sir. And we are back, folks, and up next is Lydia Brightman, the scholar and tailor, nicknamed Lint or Little Shadow, agent of the Undercity Nexus, is a level 90 undead human mage, and currently is relaxing after a long month. And so we asked Lint, what is the reason why you stay in the Undercity Nexus? And she says, as many said before, it's the roleplay aspect. Banshee, Dartfall, and Selene work daily to make sure that the guild events happen. Every time I've logged on, there's easily 10 or more members at any given time, and at a set of RP events per month. Besides that, Banshee makes sure we have PvE and flex raids, all casual compared to many other raid guilds. I came here to Moonguard maybe a few months ago looking for a roleplay guild, and with me being a Forsaken player, the Nexus seemed to be a perfect match, and I have not regretted my choice. Well, that is a wonderful answer. Thank you so much, Lint. Thank you very much. And we are back with Banshee, the leader of the Undercity Nexus. So, ma'am, I guess the question is a little different. What do you enjoy about leading this fine guild?
I enjoy leading the guild because it's a chance to find like-minded roleplay. It's a good opportunity to build a vision, share it, and find other people who enjoy it.
All right. Well, and as you could see through the other answers of the members that are within it, they all do share your vision for where the guild's going, because they all enjoy what's going on in the guild. And I think really that goes back all the way back to the leader of a guild is, how much the people that are within that guild enjoy it. Because without solid leadership and without those folks, like you just said, wanting to follow the vision that you have, it really isn't very successful, is it?
No, and honestly, that can perhaps be the biggest challenge. There's a lot of ideas out there, and there's a lot of different approaches, and trying to get everybody to come together under one roof and one banner and sharing all the different interpretations of the vision or what they do and don't want can be a little bit challenging, certainly for our internet community, but we make it work. And it's not just me. I've got great officers, and then from there down, amazing players.
Well, wonderful. So, folks, when we come back, we will have some final thoughts on the Undercity Nexus. All right, and we are back. Well, Banshee, is there anything that you would like people to know that maybe we haven't covered here tonight about the Undercity Nexus?
We're a pretty laid-back crew. We're a very open-door approach, and we welcome people to join us. If you see us out in the world, feel free to join and participate in our roleplay. We've always had a very open-door approach, and we've had a variety of events where it's just a private DM event, and players stumble into our roleplay, and we add them into the group. As always, they're expected to be tasteful and polite when participating with us. Other than that, I really encourage people to check out Forsaken lore. The lore and the story of the Forsaken is fantastic. A lot of people write the Forsaken off as these very shallow one-dimensional plague-wielding monsters, when really they've got a very complex story that is very painful, and it's torn between redemption and damnation. So I really want to encourage, just in closing, that people check out the Forsaken and their story.
Well, wonderful. So, folks, when we come back, we're going to give our final goodbyes to this wonderful, wonderful guild. And so we will be right back with that. And we are back, folks. And as you can see, we have this fine guild, the Undercity Nexus. And it has been a wonderful night. It's been a very long night, and again, some of the things out of our hands. We did have the server crash at one point, and so, you know, again, it's been a long night, but these folks have been so patient and so kind here tonight to answer all of Turwinkle's pestering questions. And it's been a night of firsts. This is the first Horde guild that we've interviewed, and the first guild that we've interviewed on Moonguard. So this has been just wonderful, and we again want to thank everybody here for their patience, and it has been just a lot of fun. If you folks want to join a great guild and have a Forsaken character, this is the guild for you. Their RP is rock solid and really well done. So thank you, folks, and for the rest of you watching, we will see Turwinkle back safe and sound, safe and sound back in the hinterlands, sans his costume, and he'll give his final thoughts on this wonderful, wonderful guild. So thank you, guys. Alrighty, folks, and we made it back to the hinterlands, and Turwinkle looks so much better without that disguise on. So, Turwinkle, what a great night, wasn't it?
Sure.
You bet. We had a lot of fun with the Undercity Forsaken, so let's give them a nice thank you, Turwinkle.
I am in your debt.
Yes, we certainly are. So, folks, if you like this episode, click that like button. If you would like to comment on the Undercity Nexus or would like to comment on any of our other episodes, please do so below. And finally, if you'd like to subscribe, we'd love to have you, so just hit that subscription button and you'll be on Team Turwinkle. Well, again, folks, what a wonderful guild. If you have an Unforsaken on Moonguard, I highly suggest joining up with the Undercity Nexus. They're really a great Forsaken guild. All right, Turwinkle. Well, excellent job. I know you were afraid to go out there and interview them, but they were very kind and didn't try to eat you, that we saw anyway. But you did make it back in one piece, so excellent job, sir. And Turwinkle, with that, we will see you next time.
Farewell.
Farewell, Turwinkle. Farewell.